All right, down here in the bottom left is the winner of our first game. He is 1 game away from advancing to the round of 16, but also 1 game away from being tied in this match.
GSL JYP.
Still JYP. Coach Lee still here. Feel a little bad for him that Revival didn't do too well earlier, so he's really rooting for JYP right now. And here's his opponent. Really should have won the first game, but didn't scout enough.
jookTo.
Yeah, there was a long time, like you were saying, he didn't put cannons up until later. There was a long time where like 6 Zerglings running around the map could have just like taken that out, won him the game.
Yeah, just JYP took a risk. He had great Blink Stalker micro. His Void Ray Sentry timing attack was actually pretty strong as well.
Yeah.
But jookTo reacted appropriately. Now, jookTo is actually really well known for his drop play on the Korean ladder. And he actually used to be in, well, of course, he's still in the clan. This is something that happens with Korean players when they join teams, they still remain part of their clan. For example, Love Shiny Star, if he actually ends up joining IM, will probably still, you know, hang out with his Love clanmates. And jookTo used to be in the clan Jung, and is still, you know, affiliated with that. But before he joined OGS, he was really well known for his drop play, and we saw a lot of drop play in that last game. We may see some more of that on Daybreak. Well, that probe, again, is going to be extremely annoying for jookTo to deal with.
And JYP going for Nexus first.
Yeah, despite seeing the the pool first, he may actually block this with a pylon to force the Zerglings to kill it to buy himself some time.
Doesn't have the money for a pylon right now.
Yeah, so he made his forge, just waiting a little bit longer. Might make a pylon.
I don't think it would be.
Oh, there he goes.
There he goes.
I knew he wanted to do it.
Well, he knows better than I do, I guess, but
he wants to make it because he wants those Zerglings to attack the pylon because he wants to get that cannon up since he made his forge later.
That's true.
So I think that's
that
it's a 2-step plan there. He's like, well, I can block your hatchery and buy time with this pylon. And yeah, it doesn't even cancel it because he wants to buy that time.
For some reason, I thought Zerglings were closer to being out than they were. There the Zerglings are coming down the ramp, take out that pylon.
I like that decision making to make the pylon a lot. Delays the hatchery so much. Plus, delayed the Zerglings, and his cannon is about 90%
that's
done.
really important as well, as delaying those Zerglings, because then they're not going to get there before the cannon finishes.
Yeah, even though, I mean, it's Daybreak, it's a pretty large map. I think it was really just habit that he thought about that, because the Zerglings wouldn't have gotten there anyways, that's why he went Nexus first. But it's just like, there's so many benefits to making that pylon that I really like that he did that. He's even going to send this probe back to check. He knows it's not going to get home. Wants to make sure it wasn't a fake.
Yeah, that's a build that we haven't seen in the GSL that I can remember for a long time, but it's something that people will do is build a Roach Warren and then they'll cancel their hatchery before it completes and get out, you know, 7 or 8 roaches really quick with the minerals they got from the hatchery.
Yeah, well, in this particular case, he went for a pool first. We didn't have any gas, but we have seen on some weird cases, do you remember those Steps of War times where people would proxy a hatchery actually and go for like 2 hatchery slow Zergling all-ins and stuff like that? I mean, it's almost impossible to do that now, but you know, always want to check and make sure the hatchery's there.
Oh man, who was it? Someone, someone proxied a hatchery, and then so they could make a queen close to the enemy base, so they could use the queen to break the ramp. That was hilarious.
It was back, I think, in Open Season 3.
Yeah, something like that.
It's a pretty funny game. I think it was against Squirtle, if you guys want to look that up. I think that's who it was against.
I don't remember.
Tastos Castle. It was on Steps of War. It's a good little interesting game. Well, all 4 gases have been taken for JYP. I think we're going to see a Stargate follow-up yet again.
Transferring some drones down to his expansion there. Getting a 3rd. Actually, he's probably... Is he transferring? No, he's not transferring to the 3rd. But he got 3 hatcheries really quickly, opting not to get his 3rd hatchery in his main, going for the expansion instead. A little bit risky. The 3rd base is a little bit far apart from the expansion. It's hard to get creep between the bases on this map.
He seems to feel comfortable doing this. We saw him take a fast 3rd at the gold base last game, and of course this time lead there. JYP adding up to 4 gates. This is very standard to see. For us, is go up to 4 gates because with 4 gateways, you don't relinquish the ability to do pressure, but you don't overcommit to gateway units either.
Yeah.
Allows you to tech, be safe against almost anything. 4 gates is really the magical number, whether or not you're doing it all in or just transitioning into the mid game.
And of course, that Overlord does see everything going on in JYP's base, so he knows he's safe. He knows that the gateways are just going up. He doesn't see any quicker gateways or anything else he needs to worry about. So, by the way, thanks again to Sony Ericsson and G-Skill for supporting the GSL.
Yeah. Get our Sony Ericsson along. It's called Sony Eric. Sony Ericsson has been a long-time sponsor of the GSL.
Yeah.
Since the beginning. So big thanks to Sony Ericsson. Of course, G-Skill, perhaps even longer.
It was Golden Foyu, someone tweeted at me, was the one who did the Queen attack, I believe is what they're referring to.
Oh, okay.
By the way, I am at Moltrap, and Wolf is at FXO Wolf.
Yep.
If you want to tweet at us, you can tweet at GomTV by typing in at GomTV.
And please do that. Tweet at us. Tweet at GomTV. Tell us what you guys think about these matches. Tell us who you think's gonna win. Hashtag GSL whenever you tweet, whether you tweet at us or not about the GSL. Get that trending. If that gets trending, I mean, it's happened a few times in certain regions. If that gets trending, it's so awesome for not only just the GSL but esports in general.
Yeah.
If you log into Twitter and you see GSL in the corner, you're gonna wonder what that is. A lot of people are gonna click on that, wonder what that is. People are gonna find out about this.
It gets a lot of exposure. Usually the trending things are just like, I cheated because, and you click on it and it's like a bunch of people who are, well, I won't comment on them personally, but it's a bunch of really silly things people saying just because it's trending and they're like trying to get on the trending list. They want people to see what they're tweeting.
Yeah, exactly. There's some weird things there. Now, Infestation Fate going up here at a pretty good timing for JYP, but it's not going to be in time for this little pressure that JYP is putting on. Obviously, he's going to get his pathogen glands first. Something we don't see that we saw Yukio do, and something we see in a lot of cases in this situation, is a lot of spines going up. He didn't make any spines, so it's going to make it much more difficult for him to hold this. He is making a ton of roaches right now, though.
Yeah.
He's got 11 out, 10 more on the way. Roach speed is going to finish, I think, in time. But will he be able to hold the third base? I don't think he's going to hold this.
No, he's not, man. He doesn't have enough roaches, especially with that many sentries there. He could just force field like crazy. He might just have to abandon this base, and that is a tough decision, but JYP has made the correct decision, I think.
Yeah, killing the Overlord that popped as well as the hatchery, and it looks like JYP is just going to go home. You just need to press the issue any further.
Like, that's a hard move to make, to be like, all right, I'm actually not going to defend my base with my units, but it's the right move because then he would just lost all of his units and the base.
And the game, most likely, after that. Now, he's trying to buy a little bit more time here for his investors, and it looks like JYP is actually not going to go home.
Ooh.
Nice force fields there. There are just not enough roaches out. He needs to buy time for those infestors. Those 4 infestors can save him here. Blink is finished, but will he have enough time? More Zerlings finally in. Beautiful force fields by JYP, blocking everything out. He doesn't have any room to blink, though, and the spines are starting to do some serious damage.
Yeah, but he's killed off a lot of roaches by catching them.
And here come the infestors.
And
infestors are out. Nice fungal.
He fungles the forward units. Is it going to be enough, though? Is microing back? Another fungal goes down. One more will kill the sentries, but there's so many stalkers. He may not be able to hold this off regardless. He blinks up onto the ramp to block it. And this may be the end of JYP's run in Code A.
It just very well might. More roaches streaming in here, trying to target down these stalkers. Beautiful blink micro by JYP. The drone's coming out as well. There are no infestors in sight, not in production. More stalkers coming in here. I think JYP is dead, and I think we're going to have our first Protoss advancing here in the round of 32 of Code A because JYP cannot hold.
He cannot hold, indeed. A couple more infestors coming out, but
They don't have
even if he
enough
gets
energy.
some fungals, oh, those are the
his
same
old
infestors.
Yeah.
He just hit them back there, and the last couple roaches died. GG! JYP scraped his way back into Code A after being eliminated, after being in a few seasons of the open seasons, got into Code S, fell to the up and down matches, fell out of Code A, and finally got his way back in here, and now has been eliminated again after just 2 games, after all that struggle. Gotta feel bad for the guy, but JYP making another run for the up and down matches.
That was just a little pressure, and actually just killed him. He had blink, and he had blink on its way, but he just wanted to pressure a little bit. He was like, are you going for really fast infestors? Do I need to go home? Or you just take a third base, you got later infestors? He found out the answer was his infestors were a little bit later. Didn't have enough roaches to hold.
Yeah.
JYP did everything he could. He pulled away from his base. He didn't sacrifice the roaches like you said. He made the right choice. I just have to sacrifice the space. Pull my drones, pull my roaches away, let the hatchery die. And then he wanted to buy a little bit more time. And I think, honestly, if he had taken the approach that we saw Yu-Gi-Oh! Do and had a few more spines up, he might be able to buy enough time for those infestors to get out and would have been able to hold that attack. He would have lost the third base no matter what in that situation. But I think, in general, I think spines would have helped out.
Yeah, spine crawlers definitely would have helped out a lot more than that third base did. Yeah, definitely. And the infestors, unfortunately for him, also just came out like a little bit too late.
Yeah.
Like if JYP had delayed 20 seconds,
yeah,
he would have had fungals when he had roaches instead of fungals after the roaches were all dead.
Exactly. Or in another situation, he would have had, fungals to kill those units before there were 8 more stalkers there with 2 rounds of warp ends,
Yeah. Yeah, or I mean, yeah, and really the key there was also the sentries. If he'd somehow managed to fungal the sentries or I don't know, something like that, those force fields were ridiculous.
They were ridiculous,
He's
man.
like, I'm actually in the map editor right now. I'm going to create terrain wherever I want it exactly as the battle goes on.
Yeah, there were no overlaps. He had them all just in this awesome arc where the roaches couldn't even engage. It was just perfect. It was beautiful play, man. It was like watching a symphony.
Yeah.
Force fields were being conducted by the sentries. JYP sitting there with his mouse and his keyboard just making it all happen. We're going to take a 5-minute break, guys. We'll see you in 5.